Paldean Fates has been out for about a month now. All the products are now officially out for it. But what on earth is going on with the prices? There are so many shiny cards, that's right, around 121 baby shinies, not to mention the full art cards, not to mention the alternate art, secret rares, and just the amazing artwork that is in the set. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at some of the prices, some of the trends, and how expensive it really is going to be to complete this master set if you were to buy all the cards individually. Now, before we get into the individual cards themselves, I thought I'd start with some of the sealed products and some of the most popular ones that people are buying. I know for myself personally, I have bought a few ETBs and obviously booster bundles. In terms of what is the cheapest to buy, in terms of value for cards, well, ultimately it is still the booster bundle. Now, I know on here you'll see it's $25 is the normal price. In the UK, it's about £23-24. And my tip to you guys, especially with the booster bundles, it's just not going to be as expensive as the 151 one. 151 is unique, and the set itself is such a big set. It's got the nostalgia. It's brought people back with the 151. That is kind of standalone, and I don't think we'll see another set like it for a while in terms of the products that are coming out for it and the price wise. That's not to say the Paldea Fates bundles themselves won't go up in price. However, as they currently stand, you can get them on the Pokemon Center, at least in the UK. So if shops around you locally are all selling this for, £25 to £30, I would recommend going on the Pokemon Center and buying it from there instead, as they're still the £23-24. However, a lot of shops, especially online, are still selling around the £23-24. As you can see, in general though, the prices dropped, so that's pretty flat. I've got the 1 month graph on it. Obviously, they are the most recent product to come out that finalizes all of it, as well as the collection boxes. So most of the graph is irrelevant, to be fair. It's only the last bit and it dropped because everyone realized pretty early on with the pull rates, etc., this was never going to be like 151. The ETB has stayed pretty flat. I know it's had its peaks and troughs, but as an item, stayed pretty flat. I don't see it going up in much value at the moment. I see it staying flat for a while, especially as we move on to Temporal Forces later this month. And the one product that probably got the biggest hype, and that is the Charizard tin. Now, there are two sizes. I've put the smaller one on because it makes it easier to do its PowerPoint, and also it is the European version, so obviously in the UK we have this more often. However, actually, compared to other sets when it comes to the tins, there's quite a lot of the bigger ones in the UK, so I don't know if that's just for this set or if that's a change, and actually in the UK and Europe we'll be able to get both tins as easy as each other. That being said, as you can see on the graph here, it does say it's around the $42 mark. I honestly don't know why it's gone up so much. Obviously on the graph it's kind of like ups and downs. It is like $1 cheaper than when it first came out. I say first came out. Again, like the Paldea Fates bundle, it came out in the middle batch of products. I think it's getting a lot of hype because it's Charizard, it's the shiny card, it's a promo, yet these are so everyone was buying them out. If you wanted to pre-order, they were sold out so quickly, and yet I don't know why that is the case, because they're readily available. There's going to be so many of these. I don't think the promo is going to hold its price for long. Again, that's my opinion. It's not financial advice. Actually, none of this is. We should probably mention that before I go any further. In the UK, you can still get this tin for its £23-24. The biggest tin is obviously more expensive because it's got an extra pack in it, but yeah, you can just go to any shop, and actually if you go to your shops that are normally more expensive in general or keep to the RRP, then actually these tins, that works in your favor when it comes to these tins, because the price won't go up. So if you want lots of Charizard tins in particular, then yeah, I would go to like your local supermarkets, your more local stores that might be keeping it to RRP, which is $23.99. Well, that's in pounds, obviously. I can't remember what it is in dollars, but if it's around the same, then yeah, I'd recommend doing that and not get too much into the hype, especially online. So I thought I'd start off here with the alternate trainers. Now I am missing one, which is the Nemona, but as a card and price, I thought actually let's just keep it to these four. Now you will see with three of them, the Iono, Arven and Penny, they all follow a similar price trend, which is at the very beginning, all the hype, expensive, and they've all come, I wouldn't say crashing down, but they've just dropped. The Iono in particular, because it was such a high point, therefore it had more to fall, but as you can see, they've all dropped, and these three are very playable. Obviously the Iono in particular is in like 95% of decks. Arven not in everything, but obviously with the Charizard deck, Arven is just so popular, and then Penny does see play in certain decks like the Stall deck, etc., and it has Umbreon on it, so naturally it's popular. Before I get onto Clive, just want to make a note, and you'll hear me say it in any video I do like this, lots of cards are overpriced when they are first revealed, when they first come out in a set. So my personal opinion is don't buy these straight off the bat all the time. 99% of the time, especially in the Scarlet and Violet era of cards, they will drop. And if there is the 1 or 2 cards that do go up straight away and you miss out, it's okay, because if you get 90% of the set cheaper, that's all that truly matters. And then you get, which is one of my favorite cards of this new set, and that is Clive. The artwork in it is amazing, and I won't spoil what Pokemon in it, but I implore you to try and find all the Pokemon on the card, because there's actually quite a lot on it, and they are hidden, so you won't necessarily notice them until you start looking for them. And each time you look at the card, you'll find a new Pokemon, which just, to me, cries out an amazing piece of artwork. As for the price of this card, it's kind of a bit of an outlier with the full art. It's overall pretty flat, so it has sort of had its waves up and down more and more than the other ones. And out of all of them, I actually see this one going up in price a bit more. Again, it's not the most expensive out of any of them by any stretch of imagination, but I do see it going up. So obviously let me know down below if you agree with that at all, with Clive in particular. Could be horrifically wrong, and all of a sudden we see the others grow, like the Iono, but the Iono is the most expensive trainer in this set because it's the Iono, and therefore, because we've already got some amazing art for the Iono, I don't see this one necessarily jumping up anytime soon. And if it does, then you can come back here and tell me wrong. In this section, we have the gold cards, and so the gold cards of this set are the legendaries. So you've got the Miraidon and Koraidon, and then the 4 extra legendaries which you can catch in the game itself. Now, if none of you have seen these cards in real life, double check my Paldea Fates opening on this channel, because spoiler, I do open like definitely a Japanese one, for example, in one of the videos in the binder. In the 2024 binder opening that I did to style it off, I got the Miraidon EX, and I got an English version of one I opened up. In terms of the quality of these cards as gold cards, absolutely amazing. They are quite difficult to get hold of, however. It's like 1 in 64, I believe. So bearing in mind there was no booster box for these, that makes these quite difficult to get hold of. And I was hoping there was going to be a lovely trend in these, and I can be like, cool, all the gold cards are doing one thing, and therefore if one goes up in price, the others do, etc. Or one's gone up and the other's going to follow, so you can sort of buy in preparation for that. However, you look on your screen right now and you will notice that all of them, apart from 2, do not follow any trend. So I have no idea what to tell you. Now, I can hazard a guess what's gone on with some of them. So obviously you'll notice the ones that have got like peaked early, it's all about the hype for them. Miraidon and Koraidon EX in particular. Miraidon obviously being the playable one. Koraidon probably because people were talking about a new fighting deck, and it's one that, you know, it's Miraidon and Koraidon. It's the 2 main legendaries of the entire Scarlet and Violet era. They have both dropped, but they have not followed the same trend. Miraidon because although the card is very playable, the deck itself has dropped. The meta has changed. It might come back, so definitely keep an eye on the Miraidon. I think it's one of the cheaper Miraidons if you want to like pimp out your deck a little bit. So there's a chance that that's going up, and in my opinion, it will go up, but not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. If Miraidon sees a lot of play, say in EU IC coming up, especially if it makes like top 8 at least, then this card could go up in value. The one that I would definitely sort of point you towards is the Chiampao EX. Now, it's a very playable card. It has been for a while, but going into the new rotation that's coming out at the beginning of April and into EU IC, Chiampao Bats Caliber deck is seeing a lot of play. It's got so much potential in it, and again, kind of like the Miraidon, it's an easy way to pimp out the deck if you wish so. And Chiampao has become a lot of people's favorite new legendary. I know people say popularity only means so much unless it's like popularity that say Umbreon gets or Gengar gets or Charizard gets, which really push up prices. Chiampao isn't quite there, but it could be. Like going forward, Chiampao to me is the new favorite card of its generation. There's going to be a lot of hate in the comments going, actually I think you'll find it's Frey Coco. As for what these cards are going to do next month or so, I genuinely have no idea. They're so all over the place. I could see all of them just dropping, to be fair, because actually the pull rate is quite high for Paldea Fates, and therefore actually we could just see it dropping because everyone's pulling these left, right and centre. So keep an eye on these in particular, but obviously some of them are very cheap. You know, $6 here, the Ting Lu EX, Wotian, Chi is only $8 at this point, and yeah, I can see them all dropping to below $5. Then we come on to the baby shinies. Now, obviously, like I said in the opening, there's 121 of these. I'm not going to go into all 221 of these. There's literally no point. I've gone into all of them that are over, or currently, as of recording, over $5. Now, just a quick shout out to why I've chosen dollars over pounds, because so many of you that watch this probably spend money in dollars over pounds, even though I'm from the UK. And when you talk about market price, etc., most people talk about it in dollars, so it's just an easy way of doing it. So you'll see the top section of these are all over $5, and they range from like $5 to $7, maybe $8, I think, in the case of Slowbro. And the main thing I want to point out to you is That's 9 cards right there that are over $5. There is another like 20 or so that are around $4 or $3. And I have a feeling a lot of these baby shinies, although there's so many of them, they're so hard to pull the specific one you want. And therefore that's kind of why the price has gone up. As well as there's some favourite shinies in this, obviously like Lucario, Oddish. But yeah, I can see these baby shinies just over time becoming more expensive. It's actually one of the more difficult sets to complete, which is amazing because we've had it way too easy recently with sets in the Scarlet and Violet era. So really looking forward to getting all of these. The 2 cards on the left, the Frigibax and Baxcalibur. Again, the Frigibax itself is like $8. Baxcalibur is around the same, if not slightly cheaper. And again, they're new cards in Scarlet and Violet era. They've got a fan base, but actually they're playable. Now, just mentioned the Gem Power deck, and it's got these 2 cards in it, obviously with the rare candy to evolve them. And to me, that is literally the only reason why these 2 cards are as expensive as they are. The fact that they're between the $5 and $10 price range just says it all, really. And I know some people say actually just because it's a playable card does not mean that dictates its price. Unfortunately, I personally believe that if a deck is very popular and is winning, especially on stream a lot, and it's been talked about, with some of the cards in it, not all of them, but some of them, like the Chimpow, like the Fidgebax Excalibur Baby Shiny version, will go up in price. So I think if you're an investor or you just want to buy this in your collection, you do need to be aware of that. And then we have the 3 at the bottom, which are all around sort of the $9 mark-ish. So pretty much almost $10. I couldn't tell you why. I mean, Mimikyu is playable, and it's kind of like the poster child of Paldean Fates. Raichu, I guess, is popular because it's the evolution of Pikachu, and Entei is one of the more popular legendaries out there, especially with the legendary dogs. So as you can see, that's 14 of the 121 that are all over $5, which to me just says this is not a cheap set. Yeah, I think you guys can gauge just how expensive this is going to be. Moving on, however, to the most expensive baby shinies in the entire set. We're going to start on the left with Ditto, Pidgey, and Snorlax. They're all over $10. Ditto and Pidgey are very playable. Snorlax is Snorlax, but I don't actually know why this version is so expensive. Snorlax does have a big fan base, so there is that, and so when you get a baby shiny version of it, that's amazing. It is a very niche playable card, but yeah, that one does elude me, but I think it's just because of its popularity. Pidgey is because to me it's a very playable card, and well, with Charizard being very expensive in this set, as we may or may not see on a later slide, naturally the Charmander and Charmeleon were gonna be 2 of the 3 most expensive baby shinies entire set. But not just that, these 2 cards in particular and the versions of Charmander and Charmeleon are very playable. Charizard currently is a very popular deck, and in the post rotation is the best deck in the format, or one of the best decks in the format. It needs Charmander to play. This particular version of Charmander with its 2 attacks, this particular version of Charmeleon, as the Charizard deck is evolving, it is playing 1 or 2 more Charmeleons to get around the evolution. So that's in play, and its Flare Veil ability is actually really good in the format. It's helped push these 2 cards to being as expensive as they are. In particular, Charmander, which is $25. And then we have the number 1 baby shiny, which is Pikachu, which doesn't shock me at all. Yeah, shock, get it? Because it's Pikachu. It has probably one of the biggest fan bases out there in general, and it's the shiny version, right? I mean, what more could you ask for? Spoiler, I have this card. I opened it when I was up in Liverpool. Pure fluke, I had no idea it was this expensive, but I will say it has dropped massively in price. This card, when it was first revealed and first sort of pricing counted on it and first few orders, especially on TCG Player, which I might add is where I get all these prices from. That being said, I think this card was at one point like $65. I know, right? $65 for this card. I don't want to pay $65. I actually want to pay $28 for it. But here we are. Pikachu is the most expensive baby shiny. And again, there's 6 cards on this screen. And yet we're looking at, like, give or take, I've not done the maths, $95 for these 6 cards. That's a crazy amount just there. Like, this set is so expensive to get. And yes, we are going to try and do that on this channel, but that's for another video altogether. But it only makes sense now to actually move on to the top cards of the set. That's right. At number 3, we have Gardevoir EX. It is a very playable card. Now, obviously, post-rotation Gardevoir EX is not going to be the same, and the jury's out in terms of what actually happens with it. And you'll see a trend here, like a lot of the more expensive cards, when the set first came out, expensive, and obviously expensive at different levels, as you'll see, and they've all come down in price. Now, it seems to be flattening out around the $50 mark. I think it's going to go down even more, because with all these top cards, like I mentioned early on, all the products for this set are now out, and with more products and more packs being out there, more's been opened, and all of a sudden, these cards are available. I must say available, more available than normal. So it will still be an expensive card. Gardevoir's got a following. It's a shiny version. It is also a secret rare version. Like, what more? So this card will never be cheap, but I think it will go down more. It'll then go back up and potentially will get back to its $68 and even more in a few years' time. Right now, I reckon this will go down a bit more, but it's still going to be, and probably always will be, an expensive card from the set. Before we go on to the next one, what do you think is number 2, guys? Let me know in the comments down below. Pause it, write it down. I think everyone knows it. It's going to be, that is right, the number 2 most expensive card in this set is the Mew EX Secret Rare. As soon as this card was spoiled when the Japanese version came out, Shiny Fates, literally everyone just went, wow, best card in the entire set. No one cares about Charizard at this point. This is the best card to get. I mean, it's a very playable card for one. Mew's got a following. The artwork is incredible. It's a shiny version of it. There's not a lot else I can say about the card. It's just amazing. And yet it's dropped, well, from its peak, like almost $60. It's kind of flattening, and the curve could be going back up. And again, you'll see that similar to the Gardevoir in a sense. But this goes to show that prices at the beginning of a set are inflated. And again, I'll reiterate that much it went up to begin with, like with most Scarlet and Violet era sets, this is no different. It's a drop. Now, don't get me wrong, $80 is, $82 in this case, is still very expensive, but you've got it like $40, $60 cheaper than if you paid for it 2 or 3 weeks ago. So please bear that in mind. But yes, this is an amazing card, and over time, this will just skyrocket in price. And you've probably all guessed it by now what number 1 is, and of course, it is the Charizard. I mean, similar to Mew, when it got spoiled, everyone was like, mind blown. How many more Charizards are we going to get in the Scarlet and Violet era? How many more Charizards, alternate art, terrestrialized version Charizards are there? And well, they keep being printed. And when I first saw this card, I was like, it looked a bit messy. I'm not gonna lie, there's just so much going on with it, colors, etc. And then I saw it in person. So no, I haven't pulled it yet. But in person, this card genuinely looks amazing. This picture that I've got on screen for you does not do it justice. So like most sets, if there's a Charizard of this caliber of a card, it's going to be most expensive, and it just is. Like, it's about $40 as of now, more expensive than any other card. But I will point out, like with the Mew, it's dropped. So again, $124 is very expensive. Don't get me wrong, this is not a card I can go out and buy, but again, it's dropped about $60. So it's very similar to the Mew in that sense. And it just goes to show prices have dropped massive. To say they've crashed would be a slight exaggeration, but it could potentially head in that way. Don't buy cards when they first come up. Even if this card went up a bit more at the beginning, it was always going to come down. And I'm very thankful it's coming down, because you never know. One day I could buy it. It's not going to happen anytime soon. So hopefully we pull it. And I say pull it because there's a video coming out hopefully next week when I open up every single product of Paldea Fates. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because that is going to be an amazing video, and I'm very looking forward to that coming out to you guys. It's probably one of the best videos I've done for a little while. There we go, spoiler, not putting any pressure on me, but definitely go and watch it. So now you've seen those cards, how expensive do you think it is to currently collect all the cards? Some of you might actually have a figure in your head, some of you might not, but here we go. Roughly, this set will cost you around $985 to complete. That is mind-blowing. For now, guys, I will see you on the next video. Take care.